Zambia Blog Talk Radio.
Hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. 17 years ago, a group of people got together and said, let's do something that will get us engaged with our homeland. Like they say, this bunch of people started calling into this system, this show. It was called Blog Talk Radio. It's still there. It's still there. So we got together, started doing it every Saturday morning. For 17 years, we have done that, and it has evolved, transformed, and taken different facets and different forms. And I wrote something down here, and I'm calling it From the Era of Calling Cards to Wi-Fi. That's where we are today. Now, let me bring in the people that have seen this from the beginning, okay? Here we go. Chasaya, Kanavesa, welcome. Canada.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Let's have fun today. Mwansa, hi.
Hi, how are you?
When Mwansa was here, like she was telling my Elizabeth behind the scenes, she didn't have any children. Now she's a mother of what? Three. 3. Okay. Dr. Munsanje.
Yes, sir.
How are you? Adjust yourself. Your head is cut. We can't see your head. Yeah. Okay. How are you, sir?
I'm doing okay, and happy to be here today.
Excellent. Elizabeth, hi.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. You've been missing in action.
Thank you.
We're supposed to have a lot of people joining us from the Queen's land. Oh, now it's the King's land.
It's the King's land.
Now it's the King lands. Welcome.
Thank
it's good
you
to
very
have
much.
you.
Good morning.
Now,
Good
everybody.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. All right. If I sent you the link, come on, log in. We still have space to connect some people. So I don't even know what to say. Kanavesa, you remember when we used to call in using the phone?
My calling card.
Yeah, I'm a calling card.
Those were the days.
Yeah, those were the days, right? That's what we used to do. They were $5. I think the highest value on a calling card was $5. Was there one for $10?
No. There was even 20, depending on the moolah. There was 10. 10 was usually very, like, if you're calling Zambia, at least 1 hour, you're assured.
Okay.
And then if you start reducing, you find that IKD, it's not well. Night shift, not getting value.
I've even forgotten that there used to be a $10 one. So that's what we used to do, right? You remember that we would do a 3-way call. Remember, there was some before my cell phone, blah blah blah, whatever. So the home phone.
That was the next stage. That was the next stage. Okay. Can I have too many? Call in, then I'll connect you. Oh my God.
Call in or call me. That's what we would do. We'd say, hey, Dr. Munsanje, call me and then I'll connect you to the system, right? That's what we were doing.
Yes. We have
317, which number is that? Who's calling in on 317?
It's true.
My area code there. My area. Now, I don't think I even remember I know that you said the area code was 717.
Yes.
One size
317. That's what 317. Who's calling in? I'm like,
and we knew, we knew that if the number is calling in and starting with 44 something, we knew that it was England.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how we knew that it was England. So one of the things that I want us to do as we go along here, everybody, thanks for joining us. Those that are joining us, the phone card era. Now, the first thing that I wanted us to do is, Alan, I sent you the link. You're supposed to be on here, Alan. I sent you the link. What am I supposed to do? I'm even losing my mind. Let me show you something. At one point, this used to be where is that? Let's share with the audience what used. Okay, at one point, this used to be our logo for the show. Okay, this used to be the logo. You remember that?
Yes, Zambia Blog Talk Ready.
Now, we didn't make that. It was the system that we were using who created that logo for us. What we did, yes, the system, the system created that logo for us. All we did was we just added the block there. You see the block under the eagle? Yeah, we added the block that is under the eagle there. That's what we did, just to, so that's one of the things that I wanted to share with you. So let's begin like this. I do not want us to drag this thing forever, but we're just going to have a moment here and enjoy the time. If I said to you, Elizabeth, what would be two? Let all of us are gonna do two. What would be the two most memorable moments of you and the past 17 years of this show?
I think it's more, for me, one thing that caught my attention so much was the way Zambia blog went global. You were able to cover, it was like every part of the world where there's diaspora, the Zambian diaspora, they would call in and they would participate. The other thing was just the way we communicated with Zambia, being able to bring speakers from Zambia, presenters and all that. That was amazing for me. I was just impressed with the way it was all done. And just keeping the community together. I think it's been so many years that it's like
yeah, that's true. Hi,
you just kept all of us calling. Sometimes even when you don't call in on time, we log in after, like after the show is finished. If you were late, you log in just to listen to what the show was saying. So that consistency has really been just like amazing for me.
Okay, that's interesting. Good morning, Inte.
Good morning to you. Good morning to everyone.
Inte is joining us from California. He's one of those who's been around forever.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, so by Elizabeth says just the people we brought in here and how we brought the community together. The bringing of the community together, I have put some things together. We're going to look at the moment when we went to Las Vegas, but we are not yet there. We are not yet there. We are not going to. No one is allowed to mention Las Vegas here until we get there. Okay. Thank you, Elizabeth. Josiah, what would you say would be the 2 most memorable moments for you in the past 17 years? It's been a long time.
I think memorable one was there's a man that I really hold dear. You know, he's been such an influence in my life and to a lot of Zambians across the world. So I think being able to bring Mr. Tsangaputa Chekwe and have a conversation with him. Another man who's been very influential and very helpful in my life, being able to bring Mr. Frank Mutuvila. I think those 2 stand out because these are people who have helped me, seen me grow. And then I think bringing them to the global audience to dispel misunderstandings about their lives, and they are just down-to-earth people. So I think if you say 2 memorable, those 2 stand out. But the third one, I think if I'm allowed to mention the third, is just seeing you in person after 10 years of just communicating, and in Dallas was something else. I know we're not allowed to go to the future, but I think seeing you in person was just amazing.
No, we are not going Dallas and Vegas and Dallas.
You didn't say Dallas. So
no, we're going to go there. First, we're taking it in strides. We're taking it in strides. First, I want the listeners to hear from each one of you what your memorable moments have been. Hi, Matilda.
Hello. Hey, wow. Hey.
Patson, you need to turn on your video cam, and we're waiting. Okay. Yeah. Frankie Mutubila, that was Nkhama Chekwe. He was here recently. Dr. Musoma interviewed him about 60 years, looking back at Zambia's 60th independence. He was here and we had a great discussion. All right. Here's another gallant Zambian. Patson.
Yes, Nathan.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, my brother. It's been a long time. Huh?
It's been a long time. I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. The King's people
Looks
are
like
in
they
the
have
house.
some network problem.
The King's
the
people
King's
are in
people
the
are
house.
putting themselves very well.
Yes, they are. Let's go to Dr. Munsanje. Dr. Munsanje, what would you say was the 2 most memorable moments for you on the last 17 years?
The 2 most memorable moments in the last 17 years for me are very clear. Number 1, I came in here and brought a show, Healthcare in Zambia. On that show, I used to bring professionals, MDs, pharmacists, including patients, to come and talk about several diseases and the treatment and the care and such kind of things.
Yes.
I remember bringing a nurse to come and talk. There are so many diseases that we have, all of us, so many cancers. There is cervical cancer for the women, ovarian cancer, you know, for the men, there's prostate cancer and such kind of things. So I brought doctors. I remember Dr. Sakulanda. You know Dr. Sakulanda?
Yes.
Very well doing physicians here in the United States. You know, to come and talk about this, because what I wanted to do was to share with the Zambian people that most of these things, what they need is for the women to go for mammograms, to care yourself before you get sick. At least you delay the disease. And then the next memorable time, this is huge. Anyone who has been in this Blog Talk Radio knows about it. When all of a sudden Zambia was blessed, I use such words like blessed, was blessed with, for the first time, a Zambian woman gave birth with the 5 babies at once. Now 5 is a quintuplets.
Yes.
Okay.
Is the quadruplets. Yeah. Oh, these are the kids.
Yeah, there you go.
I kept in touch with this family This is Terence Mulenga. He lives and works in Namibia.
Okay.
They were so blessed. And
so tell the audience, Dr. Musanje, what we did when when these people gave birth, had these twins.
Yeah, that's the next thing I was just about to say, is that we got together as Zambia Block Talk Radio. We raised funds for this family, and we bothered a lot of you. You actually volunteered. Nobody bothers you. You know, these are things that we should be proud of having done as Zambia. We sent just over $2,000. That $2,000, the way it was delivered, it was through that time the government was the PF. The money was sent through my young brother, who now is a member of parliament in Zambia, Dr. Joseph Musanje. It was sent to the Vice President, Inonga Wina. Inonga Wina is the one who delivered the gift to the family. It was a great show. You know, those are the two most important things. Now, let's continue as Zambians to do what Zambia Block Talk Radio has initiated. When we ask you for money, we feel blessed. We are not bothering you.
All right. Let's do this as we transition here. Let me play something, and everybody, I want you to listen to this and tell me what you can remember. These were, tell me who is speaking and listen to this.
For our illustrious soccer commentator, Dennis Liwewe.
Yes, I do. Mr. Liwewe, my name is Nathan Nkhama in Dallas, Texas. My question to you is, when did Mr. Liwewe start the commentary and what inspired you? Because I was born, I grew up, all I can remember is Mr. Liwewe, Mr. Liwewe. When did this start and who inspired you?
Well, let's put it this way. I never played football in my life. I never played football even at school because I was very, very thin. And my mother, after the death of my father, when I was 2 years old, told me, if you play football at secondary school, they will break your leg. That will be the end of your educational career. So I never played football. However, when I was working for the mining industries, early 60s on the Copper Belt, I was requested by the broadcasting authorities to start broadcasting football on the Copper Belt. What I did was I bought a tape recorder and I was listening to football commentaries and recording football commentaries from the British Broadcasting Corporation, the BBC. Then I would go in the bush, listen to the commentaries. But what I did is I did not, and I must repeat, I did not pick up the BBC commentary style. I developed my own African football style. The African football style is full of flavor and it's full of excitement. I'll give you an example. For example, when Zambia is launching an attack, I used to say, here comes the ball again in the center circle, and it's Godfrey Chitaru in possession. Kalusha Bada is on the left wing, calling for the ball. They are rolling forward, overlapping fullbacks have arrived again from behind as Zambia launches wave after wave of attack inside the Nigerian zone area. That was the speed which I picked up, and I stayed with that speed for 41 years.
Oh, wow.
You all remember that show? How much fun we had with Mr. Liwewe?
Oh, yes.
That was something, right? Cannabis. Josiah, I think you were on that call.
Yeah, amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, amazing. So that was one of the earliest shows that we did was with Mr. Liwewe, and I just thought that we would share. Patson, you came on here and you were doing a show called what? I was trying to remember.
Yeah, I used to do a show in the UK, Zambia Blog Talk Radio UK London show, and the show was all about education, and awareness and how we could, supplement the efforts which Zambia was doing. The highlights on that, a number of them. I think what has continued now from that is, Professor Kenneth Mwenda was one of the highlights when we held that show. And what has continued within the realm of things is that from the education that we talked about all the time, we were talking about meaningful education, which interprets to practical experiences, and within their farming and all sorts. What has actually stood out now is if you've seen the small scale farmers marketing on Facebook, a platform where our small scale farmers sell a lot of merchandise, and there's a lot of education going on for young people. We're promoting the skills. That's what stands out to me. It's been 10 years running now. Actually started in 2015 after talking to the people all over the world about how important education is, and busting the myths about learning theories and then putting practice in it. And I can assume that from all our talk and other discussions, we could see that the government has now changed the curriculum towards meaningful pragmatic education. That's the show, Nathan.
Excellent. What are you calling it? It's at the name. It's at the name.
I can't just remember, exactly, but UK and London were in it.
Yeah,
it
something like that.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Okay. Let's go to California. Tay, good morning. We made you wake up early in the morning, eh?
I know, I'm used to it.
Yeah, used to it. Because you have to ride the train to go to work. Tay, you came on here with, and you and Matilda took a certain direction and a certain route as we were trying to, and we were sort of trying to broaden and use the word diversify from education. Ntei and Matilda, I would like you to tackle your participation here together, the two of you. You did a show. What were you calling it, and what issues were you covering?
Okay.
Go first.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Good evening. When Tay and I partnered up, we were doing Zambia's ultimate business program. Zambia's ultimate business program. But there we focused on insurance. We talked a lot about insurance. Tay was the insurance person. Initially, we're supposed to have talked about different areas of business, but then we realized that insurance is involved in everything, but most especially life insurance. We had a lot of Zambians in this diaspora passing away without making provisions. And we know as a culture, death is not a subject to just talk about when you're living, we were not raised to talk about preparing for death. If you do that, it's like you're inviting death or some myths were just something that wasn't comfortable to talk about. But Tay and I started talking about insurance, life insurance, all kinds of insurance. So Tay, you can pick it up.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I was invited to the show. I believe Eureka was involved somehow, and Matilda and I were doing the show. Amazing show. I think I owe Zambia Blog Talk Radio some money because I did get some clients on that show. So Nathan, I'll send you a check. But we were talking
I'll gladly receive it.
We were talking about the issues to do with business, like Matilda said, and then it went off into the insurance world. And it's the same issues back then that we're talking about today, just awareness education, enlightening the community. Nothing much has changed. We need to take responsibility for ourselves, financial-wise. And what is changing now is, all of you will agree, we're all 17, 18 years older. And, are we going to retire here? Are we going back to Zambia? Are we going back to Mufulira, Lusaka, Livingston? Where are we going to spend, the evening of our lives? So a whole new different group of questions have come in. And, we need to take it seriously. Some of us have children here. Some even have grandchildren here. What are the questions we need to be asking now? We're not the young spring chickens we were when we came in the early 2000s. So the whole scenario has changed. And, Matilda, maybe we should get back on the airwaves and bring in another show. I don't know. But
yeah, you need to do
you
need to do that
during those years.
I just want to share something that was impactful from this. We started off on the radio, and then we went on to Facebook doing Tuesdays with Intei, where we would talk about I would ask a question that would seem so rhetorical, and people would give me a link, a Google link. But the thing with that was to bring conversation so that people can ask and read and so on. But what was very impactful is this. My mother used to watch and read those comments. She used to listen to the radio program, but she used to read the conversation. And then we stopped. We just stopped. I guess people got tired, or we were told it's enough. We talk too much about insurance. But later on, my mother said, those things that you were saying, I actually got insurance. And, today we are celebrating the passing of my mother, and we were able to cover her burial because she had insurance, because of what we were talking about.
Rest in peace to your mother. I was honored to be able to speak to her. We had a brief conversation. Rest in peace to her. We'll definitely not forget your mother.
She came on here, didn't we feature her twice on here, Matilda?
Yes.
Yeah,
She came on the show, I think more than twice.
She came on the show.
And I think in the background, she became your advisor or somebody or something.
Yeah. And just to add to that also, yesterday would have been Dennis Liwewe's 88th birthday.
Wow.
So, that audio really had me, fighting back some tears because I knew him personally. He was my grand uncle. He was my grandmother's first cousin.
Okay.
So we had a very strong family relationship with him. And he would have been his birthday yesterday, 88 years of age.
You see, the thing was, that was actually our first show with Mr. Liwewe. It was with Mr. Liwewe and Kalusha Bwalia. And we sort of took off with a bang. When we started, it was we just took off like a jet. Before we transition here, I want to hear from Mr. Bimbe. Bimbe, you and Roger just started getting into things, and share with us your thoughts on the things that you were doing on your, it was called Open Forum, right? That's what Roger was doing, Open Forum. Before we transferred him to Zbtr subsidiary, Global Corp. That's what I call it.
It's very interesting and wonderful to learn where you're coming from. I mean, 17 years is a long time. Well done, guys. I think for me, I joined at the time of the 2021 elections, and I think channels like yours and others really kind of made Zambian politics accessible to us in the diaspora. And that, to me, is a very good, it's a turning point for us to engage. The distance between our country and where we are became smaller. We came to know more about what's needed on the political scene. Of course, offshoots, so you guys started with the economy, and that is clearly important, education. Yes. So, it was the politics that made me join in, and because we're all passionate about what's happening in our country.
Yes.
And we thought we could contribute in a small way through that. So, Zbtr made that possible. So,
that's amazing. Now, Mwansa, this is what I want you to do, okay? As we went on, I can't remember what year, whether we had been on for 3, 4, 5, 6 years when we were thrown with this task or responsibility of mobilizing the Zambian community to go to Las Vegas. I want you to address that, and I want you to give us your memorable moments and then talk about the Vegas event.
Thank you, Vegas. But first of all, you know, can I say about the Zambia Blog Talk Radio, everybody here, the mentorship, how you bridge a mentorship for some of us who wanted to do something with the youth, and we're doing it in the space without structure. And when I joined you, I found people like by Elizabeth, by Dr. Sanjay, by Roger, and you gave us a voice that otherwise would never be heard anywhere else. And as a result, a lot of things have happened. That is a legacy that will forever move on. That said, then hence Vegas and Agora. We went to Vegas.
Oh, Agora. You see, sorry for interrupting you. Dr. Patrick was supposed to be here.
Yes.
The only reason he's not here is because the phone connection is just not working. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh. And how you pull that off? I still scratch my head up to now, but
how we pulled what off?
The Vegas thing, because I just knew we were gonna go to Vegas, have a few. But my goodness, we had government officials, relationships up to now, Ngozi Montali and Elizabeth, my roommate, and a lot of people. I met you for the first time after seeing you for 10 years over, and then in Vegas. And I'm telling you, Charlie di la Vegas. If you ever got to Zambia, Vegas. It was really powerful. And then to meet the women, like Mrs. Banda and a lot of powerful women, Bachanda, small farmers, they came and we were there pushing Algoa out to the point that we pushed it so much. When I went to Zambia and Hillary Clinton was in Zambia and Zambia Blog Talk Radio did that, it all started from Vegas. People listened. I met some ministers from different African countries who came to say, we heard about this actually, not so much the government publicizing it, but from the show that was Zambia Blog Talk Radio. And are you part of that? And I was in Zambia, like live in there at the Mulungushi, but it's the way it was done in Vegas, the professionalism of it all.
Actually, Vegas sort of propelled the meeting that took place in Zambia.
Zambia, right? Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. But,
can you remember, there was like 152 Zambians that showed up there?
In where?
In Vegas.
Yes. I think even more than that. And we just, a lot of people that are not here but are still following us. Vegas, I think, almost cemented, it gave us the validity that this show needed. From there was no going back. From there's no going back. From Vegas.
You see how young you were looking, Dr. Munsanje?
And you are younger, obviously.
And the late Ben Kangwa.
We shall talk about this is memorable.
Yeah, that's memorable. There's still more. There's still more here.
There we are.
Although this picture is not very clear. So that's Elizabeth Mwansa is standing there.
ambassador, the former
that was the ambassador. Then those who may not know, sitting, wearing black. Ambassador Siwela, she joined us in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
And we spent that time together.
Wow.
Yeah, this Zambia Blog Talk Radio received an award.
Yes.
And it was presented to us. I think that's all that I have. So the Vegas event, that was the first time we all met. For the first time, we just used to be on the show. And remember, there was no Facebook that time.
There was, but we were not using it that much.
Yeah, we're not using it that much. So we just used to be on the phone. And the first time we met was in Las Vegas. And that was the first time I met Mwansa, I met Dr. Monsanje, I met Elizabeth, I met Titus, a lot of that. Yareka, I met Yareka for the first time. I met Robert Shinga for the first time. And that's where things started happening.
Mr. Lopez,
Elizabeth, Dr. Monsanje, what came out of Las Vegas? After we came back from Las Vegas, what do you remember? What direction did the show take? What direction did this show take when we came back from Las Vegas?
I'll let the doctor start and then I'll come in. Dr. Monsanje, then I'll come in.
I think that is when we started the programs, like the programs that I had to try to educate Zambians on the many diseases that help and how to mitigate and try to get treatment. There were a lot of other things that we did which promoted the businesses. You know, we encouraged the Zambians to invest back in Zambia. And out of that came Zambia Diaspora Business Group, which is part of it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to announce that we may not be doing a lot, but we have a piece of land that we bought in a lucrative place in New Kasama, in Lusaka, near the HH's house. You know, so that is, for me, if I can mention something, that is what came out of that. We started that Zambia Diaspora Business Group, which is still running up to now, and we have gotten title deeds for our land. We are just trying to develop it.
Yes. Elizabeth?
Yeah, I say from Vegas. Yeah, right at Vegas, we built relationships. It was the first time that we had Zambians from all over America, even outside their diaspora.
Yeah, we had
fly into Vegas.
We had a group of people come from England. There was somebody from Belgium. There were
people flew from all over, just from the way we marketed the event through Blog Talk Radio and the way we advertised, the way we prepared, we planned. It was intensive planning. So when we all landed in Vegas, it was just amazing. And to our surprise, we did not even expect Ngoza, the diaspora desk, to be present. But apparently,
yes, by the way, I forgot about that.
The president was aware and got informed of the planning that was going on, and that the Zambian community is meeting in diaspora to officially start promoting and talking about doing business. That kind of like President Banda got so interested and assigned Ngoza, who was on the desk, the diaspora desk at the president's office, assigned her to fly in to represent him as president. That when she arrived, it was like the icing on the cake. And then the ambassador was there. Other countries were invited. Actually, we were not even the people that organized the Las Vegas, if you remember. Pastor Patrick, Dr. Patrick was having problems planning it. with what's his name, this young man from
Ethiopian, Aleme, who based in California. Ted, do you remember the name of that gentleman?
Yes.
Yes, Ted was the one planning, and they had cancelled that conference. They had cancelled it for so many times that they couldn't get the people. So when Zambia came on board, we kind of like showcased, we showed them who we are as the people. We had people from under embassies like Nigeria, and that it was just individuals coming to represent. But we showed the fall. You know, we showed up. We showed up as Zambians, and we were so organized. We took over the whole event. It was like it was a Zambia event. That shocked everybody. I think that's what made Dr. Patrick connect so much with the Zambian population. He couldn't believe what he had seen. So when we came back, that continued. We had the follow-up for us on our part as a small business from Pennsylvania. We connected with AWEP through Mrs. Banda, and we had an AWEP event in Pennsylvania, Reading. Pastor Nkhama also came.
That was another great event. That was another great event.
Yes, and it brought a lot of the whole AWEP population across Africa. They were here. The Pennsylvania community, business community, was so thrilled to see that event take place, and that's also Senator Coons, who sits at the Africa desk, started talking so much about what had happened after that. So a lot of things have started following through. From we have Anakazi, born from there. Eureka does extremely well with Anakazi, those that have been following Anakazi. And a lot of other events has come out of Las Vegas, that if we could bring all of us that went together and talk about the experiences and what has happened after Las Vegas, we would have a million stories to tell.
Yeah, it's true. There's one, just a moment, Dr. Musanje. Ms. Theo raises a point here which reminds me of something. She says, we'll try to find the Vegas show and watch it. Is it available? We were not on video or camera then, Ms. Theo. We were calling in. It was on the, but we can find the link and I can send it to you. What Ms. Theo's question reminds me is, do you remember, Mwansa by Elizabeth, that we went live, Dr. Musanje, from Las Vegas on Radio Phoenix?
Yes.
You remember that? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
The show was broadcast, although of course it wasn't on it wasn't TV, it was radio. But the people in Zambia were able to follow the proceedings of the Vegas event because it was broadcast live on Zambia Block Talk Radio, and Radio Phoenix picked it up.
True.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Ms. Theo. Quick. I want to Chasaya to talk about Zambia diaspora, but go ahead, Mwansa.
Just to add to that, when you broadcasted to Radio Phoenix, you remember from there, they even said, any one of you from the Zambia Block Talk Radio coming to Zambia, you remember you also broadcasted me live because of that.
Yeah.
And then, by the way, even because of the way we did, I didn't attend the AWEP. I became the AWEP ambassador, but the way they received me and my youths when we went to Zambia, just because of Zambia Block Tech, or you'd think I'm like, Abe never charona vasha ku America. If I to represent, but just because of the way it was organized, and that's where I also met by Elizabeth, and like Ngoza Montali, she was so. Even up to now, we're very good friends. I went to Zambia. She got me to the White House to see the First Lady, to see the President. And that's how even all this youth thing I do kind of really cemented it, and many other people, because of Zambia Block Talk Radio.
Excellent. All right.
And you need a recap of Las Vegas.
We need
there has to be a particular show to talk about it. And I know you've called on Machasaya, but very quickly. I've been with Zambia Block Talk Radio for how long? Do you know that I only hear snippets of Las Vegas, but I don't know the backstory? I don't know. So listening to Elizabeth, I'm like, wow, I don't know anything.
So you see, that was the first. I mean, I can be corrected. Chasaya, you've been with this, Dr. Monsanje. That was the first time Zambians across the diaspora came together.
Yes.
First time. Yeah. I remember the number 152.
Yes.
From across the US and from Europe. That was the first time Zambians. When you hear me say Cannabis, I'm talking to Chasaya because he holds a special place, not only on Zbtr, but in my heart, because of the things he has said to me over the years. Okay? Everybody needs a Chasaya in their life. Go ahead, Babimbe.
From your conversations and the whole thing about talking about what happened and what we can learn from that, I suppose it would be a good idea to start archiving some of these moments in much more accessible way, so that we can build the learning out of that, and going forward is much, our children will be able to see what we attempted to do, and they can pick on from that.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Bimbe. It's, I think we need to do something with not just, okay, that's something else. My mind, I don't want to go all over the place. Chasaya, I want you were part of what was called Zambia Diaspora Group. Could you share with our audience what that was and what it did? You're on mute.
Sorry about that. So Zambia Diaspora Connect was a network of individuals across the diaspora, Zambians interested. I think the primary cause was about engaging with the motherland. And then eventually it came to setting up a group of people who was about 6 of us who eventually now began working across the globe, but also trying to see how we could work with government. And one of our breakthroughs was actually being invited to attend the economic Indawa after the 2008 meltdown. The event was on April 4th to 5th, where we were asked to present, and I actually was keynote speaker for the diaspora. After my presentation, the then President Banda said, he would have to start consulting with government to make changes to the constitution for dual citizenship. And part of that also is the first time I went to State House, very first time, ministers Musokotwane, Dora Syria. And from then on began the process of setting up a diaspora desk. I remember the following June, recommendations were sent to the NCC for the dual citizenship to be in the constitution. It's taken a lot of years, but that's really the genesis. And from there on, the diaspora desk, and people talked about Ngoza Muntali. That's how her office was set up. There's a lot of documentation I have regarding State House, and I think that's where the journey is. And I think today we can proudly say that citizenship is part of the Constitution. How it's being implemented, I think that's another thing altogether, but it's in the Constitution. So at least our children now.
That's another story.
Another story, but I think I'm proud of the fact that we have got young kids, for instance, who can play soccer for Zambia, Frank Musonda, because of the same dual citizenship. So it's a long story. I think maybe we can have another conversation about that. But yeah, I think when you see, but also I want to say this to Nathan, because we used to talk about dual citizenship on the same forum. So I want to thank you and Roger and the team just for giving us a platform. The one thing I realized, we used to think about it, but eventually they listened. So kudos to you guys. And
even now they still listen.
They still listen.
They still listen.
Thank you so much, everyone.
I wish Dr. Patrick and and Roger were here to talk about around the districts. You remember when Roger did a series of around the districts? I don't know how many what you call it? How many city council chairpersons or mayors we had on the show. Just to highlight the districts, and we even developed a little website for that and things like that. But Zambia Diaspora Connect is one highlight, and Tandy Tandy Chihana was supposed to be here.
Yeah,
but
Tandy was our secretary. Yeah,
she had an appointment and she thought she could be done early. Excellent stuff. Okay, we appreciate everybody watching. Hi, Priska, good morning. And hello. This is the group that I belong to now, and I mean powerful team of African people. Hello, family. Congratulations for this milestone. You are our pioneers. That's Zenith. And Priska again says congratulations. Alan, I know you are in the studio. When somebody leaves here, we shall bring you in. My vice president in the community, Brenda, says good morning. She's watching. And she goes on to say, beautiful memories. Yeah, I was just thinking, like, is it Chasaya who said, so when we started this, I was 17 years younger than I am, right? I was 47 years old. Now I'm 61. Yeah.
No white beard, Nathan.
No white beard. Yeah. Then you know that you are somewhere up there in age. My president Nelly says, hello, Zbtr. Uncle Gregory, you're supposed to be here. I don't know. Did I send you the link? I'm not very sure. And thank you, Madam Theo. By the way, everybody, next weekend, I'm having Miss Theo and Kuomboka Diaspora. They are coming up here. They have come up with an amazing project. You need to listen to the show next week, what the Kuomboka Diaspora are going to do in 2025, Dr. Monsanje. I like people with minds like Miss Theo, all right? Yeah. And Miss Priska is sharing with us there. Here's another Zambian, a very, very crazy Zambian. Doc, get ready to come on. We've come a long way. Good morning. Many blessings to you, my great countrymen and a countrywoman. Oh, Namunji, Matilda. Who can Dr. Monsanje? Let's zero in here since Namunji is here. Do you remember what you told me what Namunji did on the show?
Yes, Dr. Monsanje.
Maybe she can help me to remind me that I do so many things. She can tell you
no.
About
we had Ntei, do you remember when we had Kambwiri here?
I was quiet on that show. I remember.
No, I want somebody to remember what. I don't want Namunji to tell us. I want you guys to remember what did Namunji do when Kambwiri came on the show.
Oh. Yes.
You remember now? Tell our audience what Namunji made Kambwiri do.
Yes, you know, we people in the diaspora, we care for our country, Zambia, and we don't want things like tribalism. As you can see, I don't know where each one of us is from. I'm from Southern Province. I know Nathan, his name is Eastern. You know, we are just together. So I now remember what happened. You know, we invited the Dr. Kambwiri Chishimba on this Zambia Blog Talk Radio. And he came and apologized for all the tribal remarks that he had been making against the Tonga people of Zambia. When he went back to Zambia, he went and met the chiefs of the Tonga chiefs in the Southern Province. And one of the chiefs, he even bought a TV for that chief. You know, so we Zambia Blog Talk Radio was strong in bringing unity to the Zambian people.
Yeah, Namunji challenged Mr. Kambwiri on a live broadcast.
Yes.
He apologized for his tribal remarks to the Tonga people of Zambia. And the media in Zambia picked it up. It was a featured story in the newspapers in Zambia. That's what happened here. So don't mess with Namunji, okay?
You know, Van Nathan, when you brought up Namunji, and I was just about to mention Clotilda, ZBTR has had great listeners and supporters over the time. People like Clotilda and Namunji. I think when we used to call in, even watching, these two people, for me personally, I can say they never missed. They always called in.
Clotilda is a shareholder in ZBT.
Oh, yes. She'll call in from work. She's tired. She's just come from a night shift. She's listening in. And then if we've strayed, she'll call in and say, no, you guys need to shan, and would listen. People like Namunji and Clotilde, I mean, there are many others, but these are the two that stand out in my mind that have always supported ZBTR. They may not have been guests, or maybe they have, and I don't know about it, but they were constant listeners. And thank you.
Now we're going to move. We are going to move to the present.
Women and men.
Yeah, we're going to move to the present, and Nasilele says great recollections, and Kennedy. Wow, watching you, Chair Chasaya Sichilima. Chibesa Kennedy there is watching you, Chasaya. Let's come to the present. Let's try to come to the present. I'm going to try to, thank you, Patson, for taking the time. Let's do this. I want to play something, and then we can try to, some of the people that we've had on the show. By the way, we've had, how many presidents are featured here? Like, okay, let's listen to this. Let's listen to this.
Okay. Let's try to, maybe since you've already talked about a weak currency and employment, you have gone on record to say in 90 days you are going to bring a transformation to Zambia. Let's begin with unemployment, sir. What is PF's strategy to deal with this unemployment issue? Because you are a very exposed, traveled man. You know, in any political situation in most of the countries, when they are campaigning, employment is one of the #1 issues. What is PF's strategy within the 90 days of taking office to create to deal with unemployment?
Japan, under the sun, has the lowest employment because all their exports benefit the Japanese people. In Zambia, Zambia has more wealth than the population. And if we utilize the wealth which we have, and the export, the money which we make from these exports come back to Zambia, we should be able to multiply our economy, and multiply our development, and employ more people than we are employing at the moment.
Okay. I'm sure most of us can recognize that voice. Okay. Mr. Bimbe, when you came here, you guys, when I say you guys, there was a political storm that ZBTR just launched against whatever was prevailing in the country. Listening to that clip, what would you say going back to memory lane, the political discourse that ZBTR has taken and how it has influenced the country?
Thank you. It's quite refreshing to hear such comments from Mr. Sata, and those kind of sentiments are the same sentiments that are around the whole essence of being Zambian extractive industry, where most of these raw material are going out rather than a value addition, and I think it speaks to that.
Yes.
So, and I remember we did have a show where we talked about Fagora, the company that was tasked with most of handling. That's part of Vendetta. Is it? No.
Glencore?
Glencore, yes.
Was it Glencore? Yeah.
Yes. So it's I think situated in that position But what we saw is, I think, from my point of view, is immediately new politicians come in. They tend to, I don't know whether they are being, something going on, brown envelope or whatever. They stop thinking like that.
Yes.
Now we are going into the world of decarbonization and electric vehicles, and countries like Zambia, Congo, and Belarus have got all those minerals. The issue is, how do we add value to that? And that's probably what Mr. Sata was talking about. So that could be what we are supposed to be doing. And I hope this is now going to be taken up seriously, as value addition is important to job creation and skilling of the within the economy. So the point was valid.
Yeah, and that is one of the things that our country has struggled with. Dr. Kasonso, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Can you please put your phone in landscape?
Oh,
I don't like the black lines on the side. Do that, and then I'll bring you back on to comment on the political discourse of the country. I think one of the things, Mr. Vimbentei, that our country has struggled with is the issue of unemployment. I remember bringing Mr. Musokotwane here, the current Minister of Finance, when he was Minister of Finance in MMD. And I put him on task to say, why don't we want to talk about Zambia's unemployment? And he said I was trying to be an alarmist. I wasn't trying to be an alarmist. What is Zambia's unemployment? We don't want to talk about that. What is the issue with that? Intei, why do you think our country doesn't want to talk about? We don't want to address the statistics of our country. Unemployment. We don't want to talk about the volumes of copper Bavinde, that the capability that the Solwezi mines, all that, the capacity they have to produce copper. We don't want to deal with those things. We just want to speak in abstracts. Whilst our friends, you can. Whilst our friends talk about these things in numbers, they do.
It's because when we start asking questions like that, you are exposing things that they don't want to be known. And I'll just touch a quick example on Glencoe. One of my very first show, to do alone, I was interviewing some people from Glencoe. Who knew some behind the scenes for Glencoe. Do you remember Vanessa? I don't think you would. But all my guests on the day of the show, an hour before the show, they all backed out. They got scared. They said
that is the story of Zbtr. People backing
and that
out.
was my very first show by myself without Roger. And but they were afraid of the political backfire that would come on. I think today, I'm not sure if you might remember, I don't know if we did that show together. We were talking about education. I started asking questions that were specific to say, okay, if you increase school fees, the Ministry of Education, are they working with the Ministry of Labor? Because their fees, the wages that people are getting do not match what you have to pay for your children to go to school. Do you remember how that just became so? They got really upset. Like, we are bringing up problems and issues that are not even there and so on. And it just went off. And I don't think the Ministry of Education, and I know what Roger was saying, stay on them, but they didn't pick up our phones again. The Ministry of Labor did not want to come back on the show. Yeah, it exposes things that if the country started really thinking about it, there might be.
Ntei, what do you think we don't want to talk figures and statistics?
Well, we live in a very reactionary environment. We've been told to respond to emergencies rather than, preempt them, rather than be prepared. The water crisis is for example, that's something that could have been avoided if that had been something that was thought about 20 years ago. So the environment that we're in and that we're used to is one of reacting to circumstances rather than preparing for them. If you look at Zambia today, and this is another statistic not a lot of people talk about, is the number of young people in the country. We have about, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 60% of the country at this time is under the age of 30. So you're talking about people who are in their most energetic, they're most youthful, most most active, and they don't have jobs. So that's bound to boil at some point.
Yeah.
And the people who are in authority, it seems everything is so centralized when it comes to making decisions. They're waiting for people at the top to say it out of their mouths before we look at the real situation on the ground. These young people go to school, they get their degrees, their diplomas, they sacrifice. There shouldn't be any reason why the first sort of thought in their mind is, how can I go to South Africa? How can I go to Botswana? How can I go to the UK? How can I go to the US? I think I get about 3 or 4 requests every week from my young relatives and their friends and strangers. How do I come to the US? And it breaks my heart to tell them, you know what, you're better off there, because if you come here, it's another war you're dealing with. Try to stay where you are, do what you can, because you have people around you. When you come here, you'll be on your own. So that's definitely something that the people in authority need to look at. And I want to congratulate Pastor Nathan for always having his ear and eye open to talk about these things that government doesn't speak about.
Yeah.
To add on top of that, I think there is a saying that when you don't have statistics, you don't provide the numbers, then there's no problem. And that could be one of the reasons people don't want to talk about numbers and figures, and because that's important. If you're gonna put in a mitigation, you need to know, how many, they talk of who are the winners, who are the losers.
Yes.
What is the problem? But without the numbers, it's very easy to deny that there is a problem. I would want to also say that having been in diaspora, it's damn very, very hard to know exactly such things, such kind of information. Even researchers, they would depend on universities here or governments in diaspora like DFID in the UK to get some of those statistics. Why we don't produce that, I don't know. I do remember when COVID started, most of the figures were coming from a project looking at UTH, death mortuaries from a university in the US rather than from our own country. So that is something that I think Zbtr needs to do something about, because without that, it's very, very hard.
Yeah. We're going to deal with 2 items and then we'll conclude for today. First, I want us to, because of the role that this show played in the election leading up to 2021, which brought in UPND into power. And this is where Abimbe and Dr. Kasonso, you come in here. You gentlemen just decided to go. We shall do the political part and then talk about the Zbtr 10th anniversary in Dallas. Okay, so hold tight. Dr. Kasonso, mwanshire fipanga fyati ba PF ni bangwele bale atef.
Yes. In fact, in Tampere mu 2015, yemwande tepo show naba mwewa. Nishina chitefe graduate. Na kulula kalakene ka degree kava msanje na ine nakwata. 2015. So, what I felt was that SATA was a good chance for us to have a stopgap. Chintu na chitulikere mwabika po chintu, so that tafiri fuma, not much of the leakage is coming out. So he knew what they didn't do from the Kaunda days up to the time he became president. So he was a great stopgap. So we supported him. Number, ilikuwa isi yokubika po bali abambisha abalumbulation, because don't think about for information abantu na lumbulation that you're now beating on a dead dog. So twatampire ku Zambia Blog Talk Radio okuchita highlight ama failures nama weaknesses ama policy deficiencies era nchipara nato pia tuliva new nato kwata degree aba munsanje. So we were able to highlight the deficits in public policy and desensitize the people from Zambia Blog Talk Radio. Zambia Blog Talk Radio, for me, it gave me a voice to speak to my countrymen and women, both here abroad and at home. And every Saturday, my family, when I used to have one, always knew that valaya pa pamulavasa uruchero. And you know, I participated on the show when I was in different countries, when I was in Dubai, and when I was in Northern Virginia. Even in Northern Virginia, I changed multiple cities there around the district. I always showed up on the show. So in our PF, public policy initiatives, you know, they used to borrow a lot of money. And when they borrow that money, they used to borrow more money than they needed for the projects. So every million that you vale kula mayanda 100 vapero muntumo. It's part of the date of Zambia. It's part of the date of Zambia. Shile namba mochisalandapo. It's part of the date of Zambia.
Statistics.
So vale liapushisha pamulu. Projects vakula, yes, but na vale liapushisha pamulu. So the projects used to cost a lot more. And namu kamuna kuninkwata kundakabaka kwa musanje tabako eteka kunumo. Kakupende ndalama. Na kena kunikasiki ukakupende ndalama. So inale pende ndalama. So no. Ababa mambala ababa kapanga ababa fuile bafumapo. So ever to atampire ya 2015 tulei surveillance mwalen karipino kunkaripirati ngo you chita hit so hard on the government. Nishinenja verenge namba shirifesha seban. Yes. So that was my story. Agakankashi kaposheko ushani what you.
My brother,
on that,
what's my question? Florida.
On the Iwe, leave her alone. Vavimbe, on that trajectory, Yava Kasonso, because I know where's Pastor Alan? Okay, he's back. Where is he now? Okay, Alan Mwashuken.
Hey, I'm quite much weekend.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
You were also Navavimbe, Dr. Kasonso Roger, when the political thing, like Uncle Gregory has said here, that where is it? He said the platform was fire. And he's right. During the political discourse, the platform was fire, Uncle Gregory. You are right. Do you remember how you and Roger used to get into it? I want you to speak to that. What were you trying to? What were you trying to say? What was your argument?
Yeah. Well, my argument at the time, and I must say, start off that looking back, I have not been too pleased with how I reacted in the heat of the moment at certain instances. But the passion was just overflowing for our country. But you see, one of the things that I personally had always admired about America, I always felt that even though they are Republicans and Democrats, at least in the past, they all wanted to take the country forward. They had differences in how to get there. And the only way that you move the country is open discourse. But it got to a place where if you said anything against the then opposition party, UPND, you were shut down. You were like, we didn't want to hear you. But my comparison was that, wait a minute, when PF was on the other side, we allowed the free flow of ideas. That's what I was trying to keep encouraging. You know, that's why Banathan, I always tell you that right now would be good to have those call-in sessions, because I could call in when I was at work, and I'm exercising, I took my child somewhere, we could still participate on the phone. You know, but the point was that it is healthy in any democracy to give everyone a voice. And Zbtr had proven, at least to me up to that point, that it was a place where different voices would come. Things that and that's why it was so heated. Because there was hardly a program where we all came out saying, yes, it is this one answer, especially when it comes to the political and how to run our country. You know, like for instance, one of my biggest argument was that.
The funny part about now, something that has come to my mind, Dr. Monsanje Vavimbe. MMD used to call us PF cadres or PF platform. You remember that, Alan?
Yes, I do.
When PF came into power, they started calling us UPND.
UPND, yes.
So I used to tell people we are used to that. It doesn't mean anything to us.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, you get used to it. I mean,
absolutely.
Oh my goodness, MMD were like, they thought PF used to pay for everything.
For everything.
They thought PF sponsored this thing.
Go ahead, Vanessa, one of the arguments I always used to give was that up to now, I'm still convinced, Zambia, the technocrats, back then, the PSAs and all these guys, anyway, even when we brought them on the program, they would articulate the matters of the economy so well. So I'll be like, but where is the problem? But how come we can't fix it? Because you guys have gone to the same schools, you have produced the same qualifications. What happens when we get when we get sitting in that chair? You know?
Bavimbe, the political discourse was fire, like Uncle Gregory is saying.
Like Mamlenga said, I think, as I said, platforms like yours, I mean, we were more like quiet, but with these platforms, they allowed us, like, to just come out and say something. And I still believe that what Mamlenga said, sharing ideas. There's no enemies. It's about, sharing those ideas. If you can convince me that this is the right thing, I would go with that. It's very important, and I think we should just continue. This kind of things should continue. We have lived experiences both in Zambia as well as in where we are in diaspora. You've actually hit the nail on the head. We go to the same schools, we use the same technology, but how come others are doing better than back home? I'll just give you an example. I was very shocked. Do you know that medical records at even our university teaching hospital, you have to carry it at home? Right? Now, you ask me, don't you think that has got implication on how we manage our drug procurement? Because statistician or data analyst behind, what data are they going to use to determine how much drugs you need, what sort of diseases you are treating? Because the records are in people's houses. So you might wonder why, yes, we come from the same schools, but when we move in there, our priorities change. Probably we want to build houses, we want to do that, but really forgetting what we need to do. So that could be one. But I think talking, providing these ideas is good. Hopefully, people will be looking at that. I'm sure very soon, if maybe we become talkative, they'll say we are tonse.
Yes.
Do you want to hear something interesting? Since Mavimbe said that, I invited a very brilliant gentleman to come and discuss the Lobito Bay corridor thing. Is involved in that, in the middle of that. What happened was, the weekend he was supposed to come on, I had Sakwiba Sikota. So he saw the Sakwiba Sikota flyer, Dr. Monsanje, and you know what he said to me? I'm not going to be on a platform that is associated with political or whatever. So I told him, and I said, look back on our show, how many guests I've had. And he says, no, I'm not going to be so cowards. You see, that Sata used to say, forever Sambilira, we are the most cowards. And it's true. It's very true. Some comments here before we transition. Uncle Daniel was supposed to be here. Abantu Bakulu Apula, always struggling with technology. Says Zambia.
We are advanced, by the way.
Zambia
Our technology is very advanced.
Such an incredible platform for thought experiments and meaningful. Clotilda Zbtr used to be my Saturday morning companion for years. Thanks, Matilda, for the reminder. And Brian Shimba, mental health advocate, says he's following. And we hope we can have you, Brian, on here to talk about what do you call it, what the work that you do. Let's take a break, and we are going to conclude with Zbtr's 10th anniversary celebration. Hi, everybody. You are watching the reunion, Zbtr at 17. This year's this talk show turns 17 years old. Actually, in May, that's when we started. That commercial I just played is my daughter's catering company. So if you need any catering services, just get in touch with her. All right. I'm not going to promote other people's stuff. I mean,
nepotism.
Yeah,
corruption.
You can say what. There are a lot of people that have played a role in this show over the past 17 years. These are only a few who are here today who are able to make time to do this. And if I go through the list, there have been many shows here. There was a time when Matilda, you remember that by Elizabeth, this just used to be 99.9% men on the show. And we struggled for a long time. Let's bring on women. Let's bring on women.
Yes.
We can't even handle them. No. You've done a good job. I mean, I'm talking about, you've done a good job. Very good job.
So you're talking about me then?
I know, right?
Right.
All right. So when Zbtr attained 10 years, which is 7 years ago, we decided, we said 10 is a milestone. Let's do something. And we did something. Okay. Matilda, you were part of the planning team. Can you talk?
Yes.
How did we get it done? What happened?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, planning the 10-year anniversary, there was a lot we wanted to do. Just like I had mentioned before, the Las Vegas thing, those who had gone to Las Vegas or who had been a part of it wanted it to be a bit like that, but those of us who were not there or had not been a part of it, we didn't know what you guys had experienced in Las Vegas, but we still ended up having our own unique celebration. We wanted to bring programs that we used to discuss, but put them in the form of a workshop. In the morning, we had workshop sessions. There's this is the A team right there. And you know, seeing Pastor Mwaka, Pastor Nathan, I'm not sure if you're going to come round to this. Pastor Mwaka's show on Tuesdays used to bring in a lot of people. If you remember.
Yeah, it used to. That's why I said that there are a lot of people who've played the role. We'll continue doing this. Maybe I'll try to do in February. I may do something as well and bring in a different, what do you call it? A different group of people that can talk about this. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm the only one who knows everybody in this picture.
Yes, you are. No, we know everybody.
So that's from left, that's Namunji, the one who made the Kambwili apologize. The one in red is Clotilda. Next to Clotilda is my wife, Dr. Munsanje. Yes. Miss Violet, we call Auntie Violet. Mrs. Musonda. Dr. Munsanje, you know Mr. Musonda, Willis Musonda.
Yes, is the ambassador.
That's the wife. And that's Brenda, my vice president in the community. And that's Pastor Prophetess Mwaka, Dr. Mwaka. Yes. Okay. So that was our 10th anniversary event. Is it only Matilda and I were at this event on this show?
No, Dr. Munsanje was there.
Dr. Munsanje, what memories do you bring from there?
Wow, this was a great gathering of Zambians we had our ambassador there. Can somebody remind me his name?
Let me put here.
Simbiakula.
There's the
Dr.
ambassador.
Simbiakula, yes, was there. You know, Dr. Steady Mono was one of our sponsors for this event. We were together. There were so many people from Canada. You know, it was a great event. And out of that, Dr. Kazila was there from Canada. You know, we made a lot of progress as a Zambian team. There we are. Titus Natala, Dr. Patrick, Nathan, obviously, Chasaya. Yeah, I remember.
And Dr. Emil Kue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, Roger.
The community showed up. The community showed up in big numbers.
Yes.
Yes. The workshop sessions or breakout sessions we had were very good. A lot of great business ideas were brought up, and smaller groups, people signed up to say, this is what I'm going to participate in. This is what we're going to do. And then in the evening, we celebrated with a gala. It was a 2-day event, I believe. We started off on Friday.
Yes.
Friday and Saturday were more or less concurrent of each other. Then in the evening, we had a gala. It was well attended, very well organized. And we also got to meet the presidents of different associations. I believe Zanus also came out to have their meeting as well. That was a lot of planning. It was we had people from Canada and England come out. That was good too.
Yeah, that's where we met Leah for the first time, right?
Yes.
Castalia. It was good to see her. Let's finish with this. Dr. Monsanje, what was your greatest takeaway from the 10th anniversary celebration?
Yeah, the unity that was shown by Zambians from across the world, because there were people from England, from Canada, obviously, and the other areas. So that was something that I had never seen. Zambians are united to do this, and if this is going to be, let me just also take this opportunity to thank our director, Nathan Nkhama, Pastor Nkhama. He has done a great job. You know, he's always here. I don't know how his family lets him. So let us recognize him for his special thing. And those of you who know me, I do some things which people sometimes don't like, but it's unfortunately Nathan is right here. I'm going to ask us to give a token of thanks to our director, Nathan Nkhama. Please send anything that you have to me, and I will send it to him. It will be announced. But for me, I'm pledging $50 for our director, Nathan Nkhama.
You
guys.
No, we have $100 right now.
We'll send an envelope for Pastor.
Send.
Thank you.
Na totel. Ndalumba kapati. Here's one gentleman who has also been part of it. Noah came to the Zbtr 10th anniversary. For those of you who may not know, Noah was Zambians in Indiana president. He is also the founder of Zanus, which is an organization that brings the association's presidents together. He came to the 10th anniversary celebration, and they gave me a session there to just speak to the Zanus leaders. No, I haven't forgotten about that. Good to hear from you, my friend. And Uncle Gregory says, the minds and personalities that have graced this platform are a think tank. Hard truths have always been discussed, debated, and analyzed without prejudice. Most issues, subjects worthy to feed into most policy deficits that have been begging in one nation called Zambia. Why do I say so? These same participants represented here are functional in their various fields of proficiencies in the diaspora. No brainer. Thank you, Uncle Gregory.
But Nathan, can I just quickly, I know before you
And my sister from another mother says, Vanathan Nkhama, you've been very consistent. Thank you, Clotilda. You have been very consistent yourself too, consist. I always say this, if there's a person who's very supportive in this community, I know there are many others, but I can only speak of those I know and the one I know. It's Clotilda.
Clotilda.
Most of us, let me go back. Look, there are many people who have done great things in the community. We are not denying that, but let's appreciate and highlight those. If you look at this picture, I want you to pay, look, no, don't clap yet, don't clap yet. There's something. Do you see the way she's holding her arm?
Mm-hmm.
You notice that?
Yeah.
She had a fractured arm when she came to the 10th anniversary celebration. At first, she actually told me she wasn't coming because of that.
And then Mama Chai is
Clotilda will show up with a fractured foot. I'm telling you.
Sister.
Clotilda will show up in a wheelchair.
I'm telling you.
All right. You want to say something?
I just wanted to quickly read something from the group of my youth here. I don't know, because it's a group of them watching on one thing. Say, Dr. Nkhama, they always call you Dr. Nkhama, which I agree. Dr. Nkhama, the platform you've given us as the youths without any voice, and then all of a sudden we are on the world stage, is beyond us. We pray to God you can continue through this. You have changed our lives. MPG, continue working with Dr. Nkhama. Don't leave him alone. I don't know, but they're saying you have changed their lives and they're grateful. They have never had a platform where they can just be heard and they speak their truth.
Thank you.
I also have just something small to say here. I was supposed to come on the show with the Zambia Blog Talk radio TV T-shirt. But as usual, Nkhama, T-shirt. This time, I am not going to suspect you like I did last time. So, but I just want to thank you for connecting me with my community. Since 2015, I have felt, when I went to Zambia Blog Talk Radio, it always felt like it's my cell group. Nale mfobu no kumpwafe zingiri chisungu cha kulanda mchizambi chisungu cha kuzambia notikula minaula kulala ndakalimi kwati mlera ndeka kwatuka ku New York no kulanda fe chisungu kwa chimoka wala wefu chetu wafichafiro kuzambia. So I truly enjoy just listening to my countrymen and women from across the United States and all over the world. And I will always be indebted to this platform. I might create my own platforms. I might even create my own party. I might even become my own president. But my fashion was formed in the image of Zambia Blog Talk Radio. So thank you, Wakamba. You may call me a crazy Zambian because if I want to be a comedian, I can turn this whole show into a comedy show.
I'm the only one who can say anything about you and get away with it.
Of course, that we know, yes. But thank you very much. I remember the interview about the book. I remember many fabulous things. Yes. You are a free speech man. You promoted Zambia free speech. Your life, we love to celebrate you, but don't you kufwa Wakamba, don't you kufwa. Long live Nathan Nkhama, long live.
Yes. You guys. All right.
We've come a long way from just telling us that the program has started at Diku Stadium, we really come a long way from that. I know other guests, other hosts should have been here and they're not for whatever reasons. But I do want to make a shout out to Yareka, the Voices of Anakazi, Prophetess Mwaka, with the program that she had. She used to have every Tuesday. That's one program that had like 500 listeners after, or even, you know, that was just amazing. Twambo, we were not able to get in touch with her. I was with her on Chalo Chesu. She brought in the youth perspective, not the youth, but the young people. Young people's perspective, and just forward-thinking ideas that were just amazing. That now we're like, wow, she was onto something. People like that, you know, Titus, who used to do the background work, go around the world to find guests and say, here's a guest, here's a potential guest. But Roger, who's not here today.
By the way, everybody, sorry for interrupting you, Matilda. Roger is not feeling well. That's why he's not here.
Okay. We hope he feels better soon. Yes. Yeah. You know, people like Pianki and
I wrote to Pianki and he said he was going to come, but he hasn't showed up.
Yes, you know, Dr. Patrick, people like that. It was just it is an amazing platform. And just to come where we came from, you know, when someone talked about dual citizenship, then it was the Society of Zambians Abroad, America's source, picked it up on the dual citizenship, and we fought for it to make sure that we are talking to people that are in our presence. And those conversations were very here, you know, and here we are. I'm a dual citizen because of things like that. So Vanessa, keep holding the fort, sometimes to Laluba, to Abuela. But we are always here.
Thank you.
That is so true. Yeah.
All right, we shall end here. I'll let Babimbe have the last word since he's from across the oceans.
Thank you, Pastor Nkhama, and thank you for this platform. I've met great people like Bakasonso. So I came to know him, Charlie, and the rest. And I'm really grateful to have known everybody here. And I'm really, really pleased and happy that this platform has come a long way. I didn't know that it's 17 years now. Well done, as I said earlier, it's really grown. It has given us voices for some of us with our politics, and we felt passionate about it, and we connected, and we are here. And I have to say, it's been great to also know other people.
Yes.
You know, when we are in diaspora, we don't know each other. Even if we don't meet physically, but through this platform, I think I've come to know a number of people through that way. And I hope we continue communicating.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Pastor Nkhama, for being a very, very great convener. You've brought us Zambians together through this platform, and I'm really, really grateful.
Muchise organize na ka 17th anniversary ka meeting na ifokuse tutunwe ko shadow ne.
I'll read this last comment from my new team leader. I belong to a certain team of Listen Media. Thank you so much, Pastor Nathan, for this platform. This is indeed a think tank. We salute you. Dr. Monsanje, can you share details of how people can contribute? Okay. Yeah. So
just Zella to my phone number, if those who have Zelle.
Okay.
Yeah. So you should share that phone number.
Oh,
and of course,
318-1268.
We can phone number
is for you, Dr. Kassov. So I'll send in a message.
Dr. Monsanje, say the number again.
As soon as you send the message, my gift is in.
Wait. 484 318
1268.
1268. Okay, that's a zero number.
Nkhama, on a sad note, I must say condolences on the death of your friend, the Reverend Pastor Chiluba.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry about that.
I was going to end with that. And I did have, we featured Chiluba and his wife on this show. I was trying to show some clips, but I tried to avoid his, like Matilda called me early this morning. She was teasing me. She was like, you have a big production this morning. I was trying to avoid doing too many things. And I just wanted us to focus on something, and just this. You all remember we had the Chiluvas on this show, and we talked about media and ministry. I've known Pastor Moses Chiluba for more than 30 years, from the time I was just a young person.
Mm-hmm.
The funeral is actually, I think by now it's ended. It was today. The funeral was today. Dr. Mumba was speaking. Bishop Joshua Banda was there speaking. A lot of political leaders. It's a loss to the nation. He is the founder and of Camnet TV. Those of you that follow Camnet, yeah. So thank you, Doc. Go ahead.
I think he was also on television even before Dr. Nevas Mumba.
He's the one, you see, what Dr. Mumba did, it's interesting you say that, because he's the one who pioneered Zambians having TV ministry
on television.
Dr. Mumba just took it a step further and probably to another level. Let me say this. Thank you, everybody, over the years for doing this. Those of you that are here, my friend Roger wasn't able to be here. Titus wasn't able to be here.
Kelvin.
A lot of people, Cletus, Noel, and Reka, I mean, Robert Chinga, Matilda, Elizabeth, Robert.
Yeah.
Robert Chinga played a big role in this thing. And
yes,
like I'm saying, there's so many people that this screen couldn't have covered. But like you have said, Dr. Kasonso, I'm working on something. Probably we're gonna do an event very soon. Not this year.
Not ku Dallas, no landlocked. Click on a beach.
Molesa coming at White Guy in Florida. It's because you want to come there.
What if now Mago Florida, you were on there Florida at the end of the month. So
thank you, my family.
All right, everybody. And I appreciate each one of you. And whether you are here or you are not here, everybody that has been a part of this and a part of my life for many years. I cannot even thank my family enough for being supportive. My wife is my greatest #1 cheerleader. And my kids love this. That's why we talk about this and we do things together. Thank you, everybody. And next weekend, like I announced, I am having Kuomboka diaspora. They are coming up here to speak about what they are going to do this year and what they plan to work on. So on that note, I want to say thank you, everybody, and have a great weekend.
Yeah, that's a great observation. But when I look back at Zambian soccer, for a long time, the impression I had about Zambian soccer was that the Copper Belt. When you talked about the Zambian soccer, the Copper Belt was it. Some of the most feared soccer teams, and I think even now, they're on the Copper Belt. I just didn't understand what it is that, the kind of soccer spirit, that, the guys on the Copper Belt had, because they did pretty good. You talk about all those big teams, Flair Wanderers, kind of Red Devils, Power Dynamos, I mean, you can name all those guys. And they used to be always at the top of the league, So, I mean, it's amazing that the Copper Belt always, has that image of soccer prowess, guys who can play good soccer, will be coming from the Copper Belt, Yeah. So, before we go on, let me acknowledge some of our callers on the line.
Keep the flame of Zambia's 60th independence continue to burn with pride. Zambia's Diamond Jubilee has come and gone, but the pride? That's here to stay. Show off your Zambian heritage with our exclusive Zambia at 60 branded t-shirts, bold unique designs crafted just for you, the true Zambian at heart. Perfect for family gatherings, special events, or simply a casual day out, the Zambia at 60 t-shirt lets you wear your pride and share it with everyone around you. Stand out wherever you go. Represent Zambia with style and pride, turning heads and sparking conversations everywhere you are. Ready to get yours? It's simple. Get one shirt at $40 or two shirts for $70. Order today and pay conveniently via Zelle, +1 817 501 1615 or Cash App, Pastor Nate, or email us at zbtr2009@gmail.com to place your order. Don't wait, let Zambia's Diamond Jubilee continue to shine on with every wear. Let's keep the pride alive. Grab your Zambia at 60 t-shirt, wear your pride, and represent Zambia everywhere you go. Get yours today.
Zambia Blog Talk Radio.